fast blast about China and international aid budget. And now I'm on to an interview with Jonathan Royle. You may recall we spoke to each other over the weekend, and there was, I guess there were quite a few questions raised after our show, which we seek to cover this evening. So welcome, Jonathan. Thank you so much for agreeing to come back.
Thanks for asking me, Caroline. Yeah, I made a note of the questions that people have posted or the messages you've got. So probably best if we answer people's questions first, get them out of the way, yeah?
Yeah.
So there was a question about what did I think about artificial intelligence, AI, and its impact on the whole brainwashing and manipulation of the mass populace as a whole. My short answer to that, I mean, it's like any of these subjects, each individual area you could literally talk about for days and days, and other than you becoming bogged down with information, it wouldn't actually help overcome the issue. Action has to be taken for that. But AI wise, unfortunately, I hate to report it, I know from first-hand experience that it's already being used. And in terms of hypnosis and mind control, it's already extremely effective. And in fact, it's more effective in a lot of contexts than a human being. For example, say the powers that be with nefarious intent wanted and came and offered me loads of money, albeit I'd tell them to get lost. But let's just say they found somebody with similar skills to do it for them. That person would still be a human being. They may be a psychopath with very low level emotions, like the elite are, where they don't care that much about people, but there would still be something that would push their emotional hot button somewhere. It just might be more extreme than it is for the majority of us normal people. So that means ultimately somewhere they've got a weakness. With AI, yes, there is that old saying of if it's man-made, it can be man-broken, and that's one of the dangers, because effectively artificial intelligence is run with software, and as we know, that can be hacked by people. So there could be a danger there of someone hacking something that's an intelligent use of AI and turning it into a unknown, nefarious, nasty use of it to manipulate or control people. But the key thing is, whether it's with positive or negative intent, AI, once programmed, doesn't have, yes, if somebody comes, like any software, there's always a way of breaking into things, but through its own accord, it doesn't have the weakness that human beings ultimately do. Yes, someone who sets out to hack artificial intelligence software programs could get in. Of course they could, but generally speaking, it's going to be more effective because it hasn't got that potential emotional influence or thought pattern on it. It does it totally as it's been programmed, and it is incredibly effective. One of the most recent uses of AI software and intelligence is a thing that was called, commonly known as Cambridge Analytica, which was used not just to help manipulate the voting process in the Brexit votes in England, vote leave, vote remain, but more so it was also used to get Donald Trump into power. And this is not some conspiracy theory, this is a fact, you can search it. The parties involved of Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, who allowed it to take place in knowledge of what was going on, have had to pay out massive fines to the Information Commissioner's Office in England, even bigger fines in America, because they've been found guilty in court of stealing people's personal data from their social media profiles, and then their AI bots, their software programs, using that to create specifically targeted, emotionally pushing the right buttons for the target audience, Facebook and social media posts and videos to influence people, to make them angry, to motivate or to make them happy, depending on the context, to ultimately brainwash them into voting the way they wanted. So AI, yes, it's something that you've got to be aware of. Basically, one simple way of protecting yourself to a degree is on Facebook. If somebody sends you oh look, I'm star sign whatever, and this means such and such, or my spirit animal name is Dave. I know I'm being a bit facetious here, but there's all these different things you can join for free on Facebook that will run your name through and your profile and come out and tell you what your future holds, or what your next lover's going to be called, or all manner of different weird contexts. Remember, nobody offers anything for free. There's always a catch. That catch can be on some people's websites, putting your email address in so they can send you further marketing communications with the hope of selling you something. With Facebook, it is that you are agreeing, and most people don't read the terms and conditions. You're agreeing by clicking yes, I agree, to let them have access to stuff that you might deem normally as being confidential, that's stored in your social profiles, which they can then sell at a profit to other people, or use to target adverts at you to manipulate you, just as Cambridge Analytica did, except they'd be doing it legally because you've given them permission. The problem with Cambridge Analytica was, and one of these apps that was called Your Digital Life, and I know a bit about this because I was one of the few people in England that was actually hacked in this manner, and a London lawyer called Ravi Naik of ITN Solicitors is handling mine and a whole bunch of other people's privacy invasion claim against Facebook in this matter. So I can tell you it is very real. It already exists, and it is something that is used in that brainwashing manner. Another thing that was brought up since our last chat, Caroline, was somebody sent you a message saying what I do is against. They didn't think, well, they did mention Christianity, but they mentioned religion and implied it was against religions to have anything to do with a hypnotist. Well, I can tell you now that both Christian religious texts and Catholic religious texts and the vast majority of other religious texts, I've not read every one on the planet, but pretty much I've read a lot of them, and they all say words to the effect of, the majority of them say words to the effect of that hypnotism is licit when used for licit purposes. In other words, it's okay when it's used with positive intent for positive purposes. And just like a hammer can be used positively to put a nail in or pull it out if it's a claw hammer, in the wrong hands, it can be used to kill somebody. It's all about the intent and the purpose and the way it's used. But there are very few religious texts out there that actually prohibit completely the use of what we commonly term now hypnosis. There are a lot of texts, when people get this mixed up, that prohibit the use of fortune telling, divination, or contacting spirits and spiritualism and such like. But that has got nothing to do with hypnosis. So that hopefully clarifies that. And then thirdly, and then obviously you can chuck questions at me, Caroline. Thirdly, to clarify, what do I do when I hypnotize somebody? Well, my answer is probably a bit different than the majority of hypnotherapists or stage hypnotists or people who use hypnosis, because I would say that although I've been a professional hypnotist for over 30 years, and amongst that I've worked as a professional stage hypnotist, entertaining people on stage, and a professional hypnotherapist, helping people overcome habits, fears, addictions, phobias, and a professional hypnotic consultant, helping people use it in marketing to sell more, in the workplace to be more relaxed. I don't believe I've ever hypnotized a single person in my entire life. And indeed, I don't believe any hypnotist ever has, because I think more truthfully, it would be more accurate to say that all we do as a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, stage hypnotist or whatever, is with permission, when it's being used for positive intent, with permission of the individual, we hijack the trance state they're currently in, and help steer it in the direction that will be beneficial for them. So right now, people listening to this live could be in the Facebook Live or the YouTube live video trance of being absorbed in watching and listening to this. At the end of it, they may suddenly have to go downstairs. The family might have come home and they might make the tea. So they automatically go into the making their dinner trance. Every part of everyday life is some kind of trance, because trance is just kind of a brain process, a program, if you like. So when you make dinner, your brain goes, right, it's dinner time. It pattern matches, it looks in the filing cabinet of your unconscious mind and goes, yes, this is what we have to do to make dinner. And that's what it's about. A hypnotherapist law will take the trance you're currently in. So say you go, for example, to overcome a phobia of spiders, as an example. Currently, your filing cabinet, or your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, your personal laptop computer, call it what you will, has got a program running that says, when I see a spider, I panic, get scared, and I want to get away from it. So what the hypnotist, hypnotherapist, whatever title they're using will do is help you access the memory bank of your personal laptop computer, find that file that currently says, see spider, react with panic, want to get away and scared, help you click delete on that, metaphorically speaking, in your mind, so you can wipe that image away and replace it with an image that says, see spider, remain calm and relaxed, able to remove it safely and put it outside without it bothering me. And once that program's running, from there on in, that is the reaction you get. It's just about replacing the programs. Unfortunately, in relation to what we were talking about a couple of days ago, which will be the video before this on YouTube, people with nefarious negative intent can come along and hijack your I'm watching a television show that looks interesting program, and then in the adverts that you're kind of consciously perhaps not paying attention to, but you leave them running in the room while you turn and talk to your partner, waiting for the program to start. And because of that, you're consciously occupied talking to your partner, for example, or going making a brew. So you're consciously not paying attention to the television adverts. Well, because they're running and you're not consciously aware of them, they bypass your conscious mind. They bypass your critical faculty, because nothing consciously says, beware, incoming message, because you're focused on something else. And they go into your unconscious mind, and you can find yourself weeks down the line wondering why you're suddenly spending more on a new brand of air freshener for the house than you did previously when there were cheaper options. It happens without you consciously being aware. And the way to protect yourself is literally to, at the advert breaks, if you're going to remain in the room or leave the room, turn the television on mute and look away from it. So you cannot take anything in, any visual stimulation at a subliminal level, and you can't accidentally let in any auditory subliminal messages. In other words, choose and take more control over the messages you're allowing yourself to take in visually, auditory, with all your senses. So that means rather than just sitting in the living room, letting your television keep blaring stuff out while you're out talking with the family or reading a book, turn it on mute, or even better, turn it off.
I was going to say, you know, we would be such an improved society if we took it upon ourselves to say, right, I don't know if your parents did this with you when you were a child, but it was a case of, we're going to do without television tonight, or we're going to do without television all week. And that used to be a commonplace mantra, didn't it? Especially if you'd done something wrong, right? We're just having no TV. Yeah. But everybody's now got their gizmos. So even if your parents say, right, we're going to ban TV, the kids will be upstairs playing on a gizmo anyway. So we all need to remove ourselves from social media for a fortnight then that would really send a message, and we'd be a lot healthier for it as well.
In an ideal world, yeah, but I'm not saying go as extreme as that. Initially, if people start doing something that's easy to maintain, and then they find that after a 28-day period, because for habits to truly, whether it's a positive or a negative habit, for it to become fully ingrained at a deep-rooted subconscious, unconscious level, it takes a 28-day lunar cycle. So if we can give people things to do that they can easily maintain for 28 days without it feeling difficult, otherwise they'll give up on it, then at the end of 28 days, they will notice the positive benefits of doing that which was easy to keep to, and that will give them motivation to be able to increase it a little bit more. So what I would suggest is, and this is easier to do now than it would have been years ago in the day of VHS videotapes and all that nightmare. Now, most people can record on their television the programs they want to watch through their Sky box or their Virgin box or their digital set-top box. Go through at the start of the week your television guide, whether it's free online or you buy one, and ring the things that you truly want to watch. Well, ring them and then go through again and go, did I ring that out of habit, or can I do without watching that? And you'll end up with the stuff that you truly want to, whether it's because it's educational, absorbing, or makes you laugh out loud, and laughter is the best medicine. So, you know, I do recommend some of that. Choose the stuff, set it to record, and then for one night, just watch a DVD or something rather than your television input. Find something else to do just for one night so that you've got that day's television quota recorded. So the next day, while that day's television quota is being recorded, you can watch the stuff you recorded from the day before, but because you've recorded it, you can fast forward the adverts. You can completely remove them. You can fast forward the credits and all that kind of stuff. So you will actually see your programs in a shorter space of time. You'll be in control of them. You can get rid of the marketing messages. And because you're in control of it, you can watch it all together at the time you want, freeing up more time for you to do other things you enjoy, or find another hobby, or read a book, or watch something else you enjoy, or spend more time with the family, or focus on making come reality a better life for you. Because everyone complains about not having enough hours in the day. Well, as well as getting rid of the marketing messages and the brainwashing, this will give you more time to help you achieve your goals, dreams, ambitions, and desires in life. As for the gizmotrons, like the telephones, the iPads, again, you know, it's not going to kill you not checking if your post has had a like in the past 10 minutes. Or if someone, you know, turn off the messenger facility so you don't keep getting bleeps. So you have to manually log in to see if you've had messages. And I'm not saying don't look at it at all day, but make yourself the task of only checking maybe once every, let's say, 2 hours.
I tell you something, it's better, you know, I wake up in the morning and I just think, right, it's so much better if you don't switch your phone on and give yourself that first 2 hours. Not that I'm saying that I can do this, but obviously, you know, we correspond with people all over the world now. So there's always somebody online, even in the middle of the night. And it is difficult. It is difficult to be regimented, but it can be done.
It can be done, little steps slowly, and then it makes it easier. And after a month, you realise, you know what? Watching the television under my control, watching yesterday's input today recorded, unless, don't get me wrong, there's going to be exceptions to the rule. There always has to be, because, you know, if a family member rings you up and says, I'm on the television news tonight, I'm not saying you should wait till tomorrow to watch your family member on the news. There's going to be moments of common sense where you break these rules, okay? But the more often you use them, nothing's ever perfect, but the more you use them, the better the end result will be for you. Because there's a reason they call them television programs, because that's what they're doing, programming you. The storylines, I'll give you an example. It happens with films in the cinema, okay? Military vehicles, Transformers, the film, they needed a load of military vehicles in it. And they could either hire look-alike vehicles that almost look right for a certain cost, but it's still pretty damned expensive. Or they could pay an absolute ruddy fortune that's way, way multi-millions more than that to hire real military vehicles and use them as they want. Or for next to no cost, they can go to the military, as they did, and let the military, they have a particular department to deal with films and media, and say, we need these vehicles for this film. And they will look at the script and they may turn around and say, well, we want that line altering, or that we want a bigger shot of this vehicle. And in return, we'll let you have these for next to nothing. Because they take some control of how the media, how the military is portrayed in the film, so that in the film it makes the military look cool and wonderful to the young kids. It's actually part of their subliminal recruitment campaign for people to feel good about going and basically giving up their lives potentially to fight for a pointless fight that is manufactured and manipulated to make it look like something worthwhile is being fought for, where in actual fact it's all just about money, oil, power, manipulation and control.
Well, talking about manipulation and control, it's quite interesting to see the manipulation in the media with the new Brexit Party and the Conservatives and Labour leave, because the latest is that the Brexit Party is going to stand down from all the Tory seats.
What a coincidence! Just after he was offered a peerage as well, eh? What a weird coincidence.
And of course, this is all done. This is all smoke screen and mirrors again. You know, they're going to go and attack the Labour side. The political party. I just did a short fast blast just before we came on air, and I was looking at the amount of money we allegedly spent in China on our international aid budget in 2017, and we were putting something like 1.3 billion potentially into the social care fund in China. Well, of course, they've got a lot of old people, I guess, in China. They've got a lot of people, full stop. Mm-hmm. So there's us, little old Blighty, we're struggling with our social care system. You know, all the councils reporting directly to the United Nations and all saying that we're in austere times, which we are, self-induced austere times, but yet we can afford to give 1.7 billion to China for their elderly instead. Then the following year, last year, the Sun newspaper then reported that China was going around the globe, lending lots and lots of dosh to all these countries like Laos and Montenegro. And the amount of money that Montenegro owes China now is something like 865 billion or million pounds. Now, Montenegro is one of the countries that's going to be joining the EU as part of the EU Enlargement Neighbourhood Plan. And of course, we haven't left. So we could be potentially paying for their, into their own social fund in Montenegro. I mean, it's really, really, we've given money to China. They've lent money then as a consequence to all these emerging markets who then become part of the EU. And we could be bailing these countries out. I mean, it really is bonkers, isn't it?
It is bonkers, but it's all part of the wonderful Make Places Dependent plan to work towards the one world government, the one world army and all that kind of stuff. Because with China and the social care system, generally speaking, one of the things about China, and that's why I suspect it's more of I'll have to say allegedly, a potential money laundering process, is that in China, a lot of people will go to medical practitioners and sign up, and then what happens is they pay money when they're not ill. If they should become ill, they don't pay anything. So it's in the Chinese medical practitioners' interest to keep their patients healthy. And that's why, generally speaking, Chinese people remain healthier longer, more mobile, agile longer, and live longer, because their priority is to keep the medical practitioners, to keep their customers, and I am going to use that term, healthy, because that's when they carry on getting paid off them. Whereas the customers for drug companies over here, and doctors who prescribe the drugs, they only get paid when their people are being ill and wanting more drugs or getting them addicted to the stuff. But the same end result is about the money keep flowing in. But strangely with China, they get paid more when the people are healthy and not having to seek medical help and whatnot. So it strikes me deep down, tying in with that a large amount of that money is probably manipulated and moved around into things that, in the grand scheme of things, probably wouldn't really come under the remit of social care.
But then maybe, I think, did we speak about the number of suicides in China? Maybe I spoke to, on another show, I was talking to a gentleman about the suicide rates in certain companies in China are such that these people are working 20 hours a day.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's for the Apple company. And they've got a net around the building so that anybody throwing themselves off the building, they don't make any impact, a dent, if you like, on the paving. They don't have to clean their bodies up on the floor. So, because they have no life. If you're working 20 hours a day, you have no life.
Again, it depends who you believe, and I'm not saying I believe the World Health Authority, because obviously they are tied in and linked in with the powers that be and Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21. But there are reports out there from 2016 and more recently early 2018 saying that, according to reports, China's suicide rate is 9.7 people out of every 100,000, which places them with the lowest suicide rate per capita in the world.
Wow.
It just seems to me that it's more targeted to people in certain
industries,
factories, and offices where they're working ridiculous hours. There's probably a higher percentage of them because of the fact they're working so many hours in extreme conditions under extreme stress. Yeah.
Which is why you've got lies, damn lies, and statistics. So if you were to hypnotize me, or to anybody here, I know you were just saying you don't really, you're changing the trance-like state, but presumably that person has to want to be hypnotized.
Okay, no. It's a hell of a lot easier when they want to be, because when they want to be and they're consenting to be, that means that I can categorically say to you, for example, now I'd like you to close your eyes, and the person would when they're consenting and cooperating. And then once their eyes are closed, it's easier to get them to visualize inwardly and imagine things. So when I told them to do it, they would do it because they're consenting and cooperating. Thus, my journey along the path to getting them into the so-called hypnotized state would become incredibly easier when the person wants to be and it's for their benefit and they're cooperating and consenting. However, it is possible to covertly use these techniques, and they are covertly used within certain television programs, within films, within advertising, within religion, within education. Within politics, they're used. Prime ministers go on what they call NLP training courses and non-verbal communication courses as well. And when you hear them talking, especially when they're telling lies, they'll be doing this with their hands, the fingers open and pointing towards. Yes, we will leave on the 31st of October, Boris said, making this kind of hand movement towards the camera, even though he knew full well the chances were minimal and it's proven to be a lie. But it's been shown that open body language like that makes people more likely to accept it, if not at a conscious level, at an unconscious level, because consciously they hear the words, "we're leaving," and they might totally consciously hate Boris Johnson, okay, just as an example. But his body language is doing this, the open body language.
So it's this then. This is what we should... the politicians are doing to engage the people and take them with them on their journey, if you like, for them to believe in those people.
Yeah, but it's deeper than that. They know that even if the people don't believe what they're saying verbally, if they do the non-verbal body language that people are already conditioned to believe, then visually that body language will be seen. And whilst consciously they may be going, I don't believe a word he or she's saying, while the conscious mind's occupied going, that's rubbish, that's lies, they're distracting themselves from analysing the visual body language, which then the visual imagery can go straight past the critical faculty analytical area into your unconscious mind and take root, and actually at a subliminal level start to make you believe things on some small, start to question things on some small level that you're not even consciously aware that you're starting to question things.
So you reckon Boris is very good at this, isn't he?
Well,
because, I mean, let's be honest.
Studied Hitler. One of the best at it was Hitler and Goebbels.
Oh, you're opening a can of worms there. So, you know, for a man to actually replace Theresa May and present the country with virtually the same deal as Theresa May had declined 3 times in Parliament.
Yep.
And he's got the audacity, the brass neck cheek, if you like, to tell the country that his deal is great. It is really Brexit, and for the other parties to fall into line because they're all working to the same pantomime script.
Well, that's an element. The other element is he's fully well aware, his advisors who will have been trained or come from places like the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations that are all about helping, you know, manipulate public opinion, they say, is the positive portrayal of it. But in truth are linked in the past to the Tavistock Hospital and MK Ultra mind control experiments that were done by the CIA and other secret agencies. So he'll be well aware that repetition of a message, even if people don't originally consciously believe it, repeat some more, and sooner or later people either give up or they consciously start to question, could he actually be telling the truth? Because of a thing called cognitive dissonance, where they start to think, well, it can't possibly be that audacious and that ridiculous to keep blatantly lying so much or keep flogging a dead horse so much. So after a while, some people, everyone's threshold is different, will start to think, you know what, it must be true. You wouldn't keep saying it otherwise. And it only takes a small percentage, as we know, to believe the cobblers to make the difference between someone getting the seat in one constituency or someone else getting it. So they will blatantly use lying. Yes, they will. And repeating the message in the whole.
Strong and stable has moved. It's moved from strong and stable,
which oddly enough
red, white, and blue Brexit to I'm going to die in a ditch.
Theresa May, strong and stable, was straight out of Hitler's Mein Kampf book.
Was it?
It's actually in there if you look. Yeah, if you search for strong and stable Mein Kampf Hitler, it's actually in his book, which he has a section on how to manipulate and brainwash crowds. It was direct out of that training manual.
Oh, what else? Music's part of it, presumably.
Yeah, exactly. Wording, music. There we go. If you just type in strong and stable Mein Kampf, you find that even the mainstream media had no choice to report on that because of people sharing the images of Mein Kampf and the page where he says, get yourself a slogan that you can keep repeating, such as strong and steady, strong and stable. Yeah, straight out of, stuff that worked for Hitler. He brainwashed an entire nation. No wonder they pick up on these things. Music, it's got a positive connotation. They'll play it at their rallies and marches or political meetings because if people have already got positive vibes to it, like it's going to make them feel good and on top of the world, if that's how it's generally accepted, if they play it when they walk on stage, people start to visually associate that politician or that authority figure with those feelings they've already got anchored to that music. So it makes them more likely to believe whatever that person then tells them.
Well, that's funny actually, because I know that I used to go to a lot of UKIP rallies when I was part of the Leave campaign, because that was part of my role to go to various rallies and support the politicians. And I know that UKIP often had the music, the final countdown, which is by Europe, which is ironic. Really.
Ironic there's that connection subliminally, but it's also the final countdown. It's it's verbally because of the words, but it's non-verbally by virtue of it's the presence of the music and the context it's presented in, implying that time's running out. This is your last chance. You've got to act now type of thing. So yeah, it's putting people in the right emotional state to then be given that message. You've got to act now. Time's running out. You've got to do something about it or it'll be too late. You've got
14 hours to save the, what was it? So, who was that? Flash Gordon, wasn't it? You've got 14 hours to save the world.
Yeah, it's pretty much that same context. And yeah, music can be used, visual imagery can be used, that they beam up on the screens behind them. That's why, you know, these days, especially when it comes up to general elections, you certainly see a lot of politicians coming forward and going, oh look, this famous celebrity who you all like has just said vote for us and this is why, or this famous musician, because they're hoping that by virtue of that their fans and followers will automatically have such trust and brand recognition with that celebrity or musician, that by that celebrity or musician saying vote for this politician, that a large percentage will do, because people quite often follow their idols and stuff and authority figures that they already trust quite blindly, you know.
Well, it's quite interesting actually, because obviously Nigel did leave the battlefield just after the referendum vote, and there were so many people on social media saying, oh, he's run away and we'll never trust him again. And then 3 years on, they're all saying, oh, we've got to vote for the Brexit Party. And they've just checked. And, you know, this is manipulation. They said they would never, ever vote for him again. They would never follow him again. But everybody's looking for a messiah. They're looking for somebody to save them.
Because that way they're absolving themselves from having to take responsibility. The truth is, human beings as a whole, the largest majority of people, need to start waking up and realizing that the day they start doing more for themselves, actually, you know, getting off the backside and doing something different. If you keep doing the same things you've always done, you'll keep getting the same results you've always got. So if you want your life to be different, you've got to start doing something different. And I'm not saying change everything overnight. That's an impossible dream for anybody. But start making little changes, and after 28 days, it'll become habit and easy to do. Then make another little change. Before you know it, a year's gone by, you've made at least 12 major changes, and the positive impact on your life could be massive. Your income could have massively improved, your happiness improved, your stress levels gone down, all by just doing something new each month and working it in for 28 days. You've actually got to do, and start programming yourself positively to believe you are capable of more. But these people who tell you you need us to help you change things, they're the people you really want. That should be a warning sign straight away. You know, they're no different or better than you or I. We all have the same, unless we obviously have a genetic birth defect or a disability, then there may be a slight difference, but generally speaking at heart, we're all got the same potential. It just means you've actually got to do something. And in that regard, on my website, magicalguru.com, if you go on there and click on the hypnotherapy page,
yeah,
about the third video down, roughly off the top of my head, yeah. I should know this with it being on my own website, but you know. But yeah, you go to magicalguru.com, which is magicalguru.com. Click on where it says therapy, and I'm doing it now so I can tell you exactly how many videos down it is. first, second, third. The fourth video down on that page, which has a heading above it saying virtual online treatment session, is a free 90-minute interactive virtual reality hypnotherapy treatment session that I put together, where in the safety of your own home, if you do what I say and imagine it and visualize it in the manner I say, and when it says think about things in the past as they once were, you think of that you want to change, and then when it talks about the magic mirror, you think of that, how you will be in the future when it's perfect, exactly as you want it to be, when you're the perfect you, and then fill in the other blanks as guided. Then whether you want to overcome a habit, addiction, fear or a phobia, whether you want to reduce your anxiety or stress levels, gain more confidence in life, more positivity, it doesn't matter what it is, that session can help you do it, and it's completely free of charge. Because part of my mission in life is for people not to have to spend out loads of money on useless self-help stuff, when with just a bit of guidance, they can actually do it for themselves in the safety and comfort of their own home.
Okay, so on this live feed, when we finish, can you put that those details on?
I can indeed, yeah. Afterwards, I'll put the link in on Facebook, and obviously when the video goes on YouTube, I'll post the link there as well, so people can avail themselves of that free of charge. And it's not one of these where you have to go and put your email address in and end up on a marketing list. None of that. You can literally access it straight away. No catches, no marketing trace, nothing like that.
Well, maybe you'll get an upsurge in hits on the 13th of December, which is the day after the vote.
People are stressed, yeah.
They'll start realizing that actually there is nobody out there that's going to save their bacon. They're going to have to come out of their own comfort zones, because we all get comfortable, don't we? Even though it's like, what is it, boiling a frog, isn't it?
Slowly, you put the frog in cold water and you slowly heat it up, so that then it's too late. They've got used to it being a bit warm, and then get used to it being a bit warmer and a bit warmer, and then it's suddenly too late. It's too late for the frog to get out, and it's boiled alive. That can be a metaphor and an analogy for life as well, because the sad thing is, human beings will actually, generally speaking, they will make more of an effort to avoid pain than they will to seek out pleasure. So if suddenly a massively, hugely painful situation occurred, like somebody being made redundant and homeless all at once, they've got nothing to lose, they've no money in the bank, that is the time when people are at the worst. They'll probably go, you know what, as I've got to start from scratch, why should I carry on looking for the type of work I didn't enjoy doing anyway? I'll start looking for a different type of job. And eventually, because of the effort they put in, they would find a different type of job, and they'd start that job, and then they'd go, you know what, when I've saved up enough money, I'm going to go and move into this area that I always wanted to live in. And they start doing the things that they've been putting off doing for years, because they started off from a blank slate again. How sad that people don't go, you know what, we can start making those changes now, bit by bit, and doing it now, rather than waiting till it becomes so emotionally painful that they become practically a blank slate. Everyday life, the brainwashing people, processes and areas know that too much at once would make people go and snap out of it and start to question things. So they little by little, from all different angles, through religion, through politics, through brainwashing in television programs, through the media stories that are manipulating on a daily basis, little bits from all angles, so that together it comes together, but in a way where one little bit on its own isn't painful enough to wake people up, and they all get in. But if those were combined together and delivered at once, everyone will start to wake up. That's how they're doing it. They get past you because it's little and little and little and little.
Jonathan, you're a star. Thank you so much for coming on again tonight.
Thank you.
And would you come back in December?
I'd love to. Give me a shout when you're back here and we'll sort something out. Because I just need to also find out off my daughter's, the company my daughter's in pantomime for this Christmas. We know when she's rehearsing, but they've not told us which day and time she's performing yet. So until I know that, I can't actually schedule in.
What's the panto?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at the Grange Arts Centre in Oldham, Lancashire.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'd like to say thank you to everybody at home. This will be the last show for a little while now. And I hope to touch base with you in December.
Indeed. So, have a very safe trip, Caroline, and I will connect with you soon.
Thank you. Goodbye for now, everybody. It's Caroline Stevens seeking the truth. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm just going to cut you off.
No worries.
Bye. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Caroline.